Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Real Sports Updates here. Back again with another video. So, you see the title, you see the thumbnail. This is very important. Derwin James has reported to camp, but he is not practicing. Now, I don't think that this is a very huge deal. I don't think that this is something that is, groundbreaking news. I don't think it's breaking news at all. This was pretty much predicted. I pretty much predicted this. A lot of people pretty much predicted this. But I think there are a few angles that a lot of people are not looking at that should be looked at this point right now. So for Derwin James to be in camp, for him to be around the team, for him to be around the coaches, for him to be around everybody, right, being the guy that he is, right? He is a team leader. He is probably the number one team leader. For him to be there is very important, and I think it is a sign that he is committed to this team, right? And I think this is a very good thing. I think it's a great thing for the locker room, and I think it's a great thing for him to show that he is committed, right? Because you can go back in the past, right? And if you're an NFL fan, if you've been an NFL fan for any period of time, you know that there are guys who do the holdouts, right? The long holdouts, the Ezekiel Elliott's, the Le'Veon Bell's, anybody you can think of, right? Pretty much any star player at any position has, they've done the holdout thing. And again, I've mentioned in the video before, a lot of times when guys do that, it really doesn't work out in their favors. They don't end up having the years that they want to have, for a lot of reasons, injuries, they don't get enough practice time in, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I think Derwin James being in camp I think it really does. It does show his commitment to this team, and I think the guys in the locker room are going to respect him for that. Obviously, he garners a lot of respect from guys already, but I think they respect him even more. Especially because this is an issue that is not really concerning the team, right? This is a business issue. This does not concern any of the other players, is what I mean. Not necessarily the team, but this doesn't concern any of the other players. It doesn't concern Brandon Staley. It doesn't concern anybody, really in that realm, because this is between, ownership and front office, right? And Derwin James. It's not really between the team. So for him to show up, lend his support to the team, for him to still be there, it's huge. It's very, very, very big. And I also think another angle that's not being taken with this either is this could very well be a blessing in disguise for the Chargers. It could very well be a blessing in disguise for Derwin James, right? A guy with his injury history, for him to be able to participate in camp, participate in meetings, right? Be able to be there, be around all of the guys. For him to be there and not risk injury, I think is huge. Especially at this point, because I remember his last injury, his last season-ending injury. I think it happened early in camp in 2020, I believe. So it was pretty serious, and I think it happened very early in camp. So for him to be able to avoid that at this point right now, right, there's no guarantee that he won't get injured, the rest of camp. But for him to avoid that right now in this position, I think it is a very, very, very good thing, because he is not exposing himself, right? He's not exposing himself to, whatever, if the turf is bad out there one day and he ends up slipping and bust his knee up, right? He is not exposing himself to any of that. So I think this could be a blessing in disguise, right? Now, depending on how long this contract thing takes, then you kind of get into the realm of, maybe this should have been taken care of earlier, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I think at this point right now, it is a blessing in disguise. You have everybody there. You have Derwin James there, and he's not getting injured. He's not getting hurt, right? He's still, he's physically active. He's ready to go. If it was time to play or whatever, I'm sure he would want to play. But he's ready to go physically, but he's not, exposing himself to injury. So this could be a blessing in disguise at this point right now. As you move forward, I think the Chargers need to go ahead and take care of him. Derwin James is a guy, he has a lot of respect in the locker room. Just read a quote from Joey Bosa, who said that Derwin James deserves to get paid. He should get paid, and he should get all the money that he deserves from the Chargers. And, I'm sure most of, if not all of the team feels like that. So the Chargers have to get this done. I don't think that it's time for the Chargers to nickel and dime right now. At this point, you can always go back and kind of restructure contracts. We've seen the Saints do that this past offseason. They were like $45 million over the cap. They went back, restructured a bunch of contracts. They cut a few guys, and now they're under the cap. So this is not as hard to get under the cap as everybody makes it seems, but you have to take care of your players. You have to take care of your core guys. And Derwin James is a core guy. He's a guy that you want around. And now it really is not the time to nickel and dime. Now, I don't know what the Chargers have offered him. There hasn't really been much reporting about the figures, the numbers around the contract extension. That would be a lot helpful if there were numbers around here, because you would be able to understand kind of what Derwin James, what he wants as far as a contract, but there hasn't been much reporting. So you can't really speak on that yet. There's not really and that's also a positive as well too. A lot of cases, the teams and the players and their representation go back and forth, and they try to make each other look like the bad guys. That's not what's going on here. So this is a very amicable situation that the Chargers and Derwin James are having right now. So I think that it is a definite positive. Things haven't gotten out, and that's a good sign. We're already in camp now, and there hasn't been any negative stories either way. So that is a good sign. That lets me know that both sides are probably negotiating in good faith. But hopefully they get something done. Hopefully they get something done very quickly. There's still a lot of time here. Camp just got started. There's still a lot of time. You got to go through the preseason and all of that. But there is going to be a point in time that the Chargers and Derwin James are going to have to come to an agreement. And the last safety to get paid was Minka Fitzpatrick, and I went over his. I think it was a live stream. It was a live stream that I did, and I kind of went over the contract that he signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it's a fair contract. And I think Derwin James is around. He's going to be around that same. He's going to be around that same number, maybe a little more. He could land on that number right there, maybe a little more. But I think if he is looking at that contract and saying, I want something like that, then I think that's doable, right? Now, the only thing that comes up at that point is, do you front load the contract? Do you back load the contract? How do you do it as far as signing bonuses go and all of that stuff? That's for the front office. That's for Tom Telesco. That's for Derwin James and his representation to figure out, right? But I think there's a way to do that where the player gets paid, he's happy, and he's also able to do it in a certain way that doesn't leave the franchise out, in the cold, so to speak. There's a way to do it where, you can still have cap flexibility to sign other guys that you need to sign. So I'm hoping that's what's going on now. I'm hoping that's what's being worked out at this point, just the, kind of the cap flexibility of it, backloaded, front loaded, do a lot of signing bonus money. What is the guaranteed money? When does the guaranteed money get paid out? Does it get paid out in the first, 3 years, 4 years, whatever it is? But that's what I'm hoping that's, getting worked out right now. But we'll see. We will definitely see going forward. Like I said, I think they're at a good space right now. Camp just started. This is the third day of camp, so there's no rush on this. Like, this doesn't have to be done in 48 hours or whatever. But I think there's going to come to a point, right? You get to, maybe preseason game number 2 or something like that. You probably want to have this locked up by then, because you want to have Derwin James out on the field. At that point, there'll be maybe a couple of weeks until week 1. So you kind of want him to be able to get a couple of full weeks of practice in before the Chargers end up taking on the Raiders in week 1 of the season. So I think that's probably where it's going to be. But at this point right now, you can never be too sure. So hopefully they get it worked out. I want them to get it worked out. I want Derwin James to get paid. But also I want the Chargers to be able to be flexible to, be able to cover their needs down the road as well, too, right? There's going to be a lot of guys who are going to leave in free agency. There always is. There's going to be, guys who get cut. There's going to be some retirements and stuff. So you're going to need replacements down the road. And, a contract that is, flexible for the team, that is, enough to make the player happy. Hopefully that's where they land. And, as a fan, that's really all I can hope. But, this contract should have probably gotten taken care of last year. But, hey, it is what it is. The price would have been a lot cheaper last year as well, too. But it is what it is. This is what you have to do. Again, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, this is kind of the bad part of having so many good players on your team, is you got to pay guys. And, their services are not free. Their services do not come cheap. You're going to have to pay for them. You're going to have to pay top of the market if you have a top of the market player. And it is what it is, right? So hopefully this gets worked out very soon. Again, this could be a blessing in disguise. This could, really shield Derwin James away from an injury, especially considering his injury past. So I'm just looking forward to the Chargers and Derwin James coming to an agreement, and, him being able to sign on the dotted line, him locking in, the money for his future, to be able to take care of his family. And then him ultimately, putting his helmet back on and getting out on the field with the rest of the guys. But at this point right now, this is not a panic situation. But it is a situation to be monitored. I definitely want to see what the final number is going to be. I want to see what it is going to look like compared to Minkah Fitzpatrick. There's another safety out there, Jesse Bates. He has not gotten paid either. He wants to get paid with the Cincinnati Bengals. So, we'll see. Maybe his contract gets done first, and then maybe that's what the Chargers go off of, or maybe Derwin James' contract gets done first, and maybe that's what the Bengals go off of. But we'll see. There's still a lot to be determined at this point, and it's going to be interesting. Definitely going to be interesting. If there's any news that comes out or any stuff that gets reported, especially concerning numbers, I'm definitely going to come on here. I'll probably do a live stream and talk about it. But that's really all I can say right now. There's no contract yet, but hopefully it gets done quick, and hopefully everybody's happy at the end of the day. But pretty much all I got for this one, guys. Again, camp is underway. I am going to be covering as many stories as I possibly can. I might be doing 2 a days as far as videos go, so just get ready for that. Be prepared for that, and this is fun. This is the fun time of the year. Super excited, and I cannot wait to talk about the next story. So I will be back again with more content tomorrow. Thank you guys for all the likes. Thank you guys for all the engagement, all the comments, all of that stuff. Really appreciate it, and it's really helping me out in the algorithm. So please continue to keep it up, and I will continue to drop as much content as I possibly can. But that is all I have for this one, guys. I will see you again tomorrow, and until next time.